20 seconds.
Good evening. The time is 6 p.m.
Hello, everybody. It's Mike, KO4PDI. Hold on. We got to turn the sound. Yeah, get rid of that. How's everybody doing? This is Mike, Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Delta India. That's what it says on the shirt, right? Hey, it's a good thing I have that on so I know who I am. Tonight, we are doing our podcast live with a great friend and a intelligent, eclectic man who just criticized me on the background behind me, which I appreciate because he's a TV guy. He knows how to make a good scene. And today we are joined with the one and only Jame Lea. Who's Jame Lea? Check this out.
This 60 miles an hour. Let's get a reading on what we've seen so far with this one. There's 59. There's a gust to 59 since I walked up here. So in 2 minutes, we've seen a gust to 59 miles an hour. So much, much stronger winds just above the surface. I'm about 25 feet above the surface of the water right now on the Causeway Bridge here between Wrightsville Beach and Wilmington.
That was Jim Cantori, and the cameraman was Jame Lea. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jame Lea. Hey, James,
Mike.
How you doing?
Mike, thanks for having me. I'm WX4 TV. I'm James, and yeah, I was Jim's cameraman for a long, long time.
And that was pretty cool. I gotta say, see you out there in the middle of a hurricane. I know that the joke in Florida is if Jim shows up, run. And yeah, you won't be doing that anytime soon, I don't think.
No. Actually, the last hurricane we had in Florida, I went to see Jim in Cedar Key.
Okay.
The day before it was Idalia, I think it was. It hit back in September.
Right.
I went to see Jim. I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and went to see him the day before the hurricane hit. It was a good reunion.
Well, I'll tell you, it's really nice to have you here today. I want you to know that I'm doing this because I know there's a need, and I want people to know who you are, but I don't want them just to know Jim, the guy that lost his hands and his feet. I want them to know Jim, the cameraman, Jim, the storm chaser, Jim, the, the Shack in the Box owner. I got to turn this radio off. Hold on. Somebody's talking on All-Star Figures, right? They never talk on All-Star all day long until I do a live feed. Anyway, so how the heck did you end up chasing storms? Tell us that one first.
Wow. So I went to high school at the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics in Durham, North Carolina. And part of what we had to do for the school was work service for the school. I got put in the media center the year that Capital Broadcasting gave the school a TV studio. And I got a chance to play with some state-of-the-art 3/4-inch 3-tube camera stuff, did a bunch of production for the school. And one day, the crew and I were walking back to the School of Science and Math from a place where we were doing some filming at an elementary school, and there was a fire. It was like a big warehouse was on fire. And back in those days, the cops actually liked the media, and they saw us with the TV camera and thought we were a television crew. And the guy lifted up the police tape and told us to come through. And I was like, wait a second. A TV camera will get you places that they don't allow you to be. So that was my first really foray into being a television journalist, a television cameraman. And I took that and ran with it and started freelancing. The first time I did any work officially for broadcast was in 1991. So it's been 33 years now.
Wow. 33 years working on TV. That's fantastic. I actually probably around, I would say early 80s, cable TV was just coming really big, and a lot of towns required cable TV companies to give, either that or the FCC did it, I don't know, cable access to local people. And we worked on getting my local minister, Charlie, on the air in multiple jurisdictions by recording the show on Sunday, editing it, and bringing a 3/4-inch tape to the studio where they were going to broadcast it. We had a station out in Dover, New Jersey that did it, and we had a local one. What was it? Not Bright House. It was whatever it was before Bright House was the name of the company. Optimum did it, and they gave us studio time and air time, and we could actually use their studio if we wanted to, which was pretty nifty. You know, that was pretty interesting how we could do that. So you went from that. Obviously, you started out of high school, and then what'd you do? How did you actually get a job being a cameraman for Cantori?
Well, kind of a circuitous way. My grandparents were really pushing me to go to medical school. I had gone to the School of Science and Math, had the aptitude academically to go to medical school. I didn't really want to, but I didn't know how to say no to my grandfather. So after like 3 years at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, I was really like, I want to do television. I want to do photography. And rather than go to Granddaddy Joe and say, hey, Granddaddy Joe, this is really what I want to do, I took 20 hours of classes and didn't go to a single class the entire semester. And intentionally flunked myself out of UNC Chapel Hill. And then, you know, when the next semester came and they're like, you can't go to school anymore, my grandfather was livid. And, you know, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just tell me? And I said, you wouldn't listen to me. I was afraid you wouldn't hear me. But then he did listen to me. I decided to go to photography school. I went to Randolph Technical College in Asheboro, North Carolina. I was either there or at the Brooks Institute of Photography, and spoke to a bunch of people that Brooks really taught you to do a show for your clients, and Randolph Tech taught you how to make money. So I went to Randolph Tech. I got the background in still photography, knowing that I wanted to take it into television. Back in, I think, 1989, 90, it started to get where you could afford some small video cameras. Afford. They were still a couple grand. But I did some transferring 8mm movies to videotape and weddings and things like that. And then thought, you know, I really want to do cool stuff like broadcast. And I got a business plan together with the people from the Chamber of Commerce, the SCORE people, Service Corps, retired executives.
Right.
And I took that business plan to my granddad and borrowed like $150,000, bought a camera, bought a basic light kit and a battery belt that weighed about 30 pounds and lasted 20 minutes. Got a Sony Betacam camera and a wireless microphone and a scanner. And I would sit while I go to bed at night with the scanner on, and if something went off, there was, you know, a shooting or a wreck that was bad or something, I'd get out there in the overnight and film it and then go try to sell it to WRAL or WTVD in Durham and Raleigh, North Carolina. And then in 92, I thought, you know, it'd be kind of cool to see a hurricane. So I drove to South Florida for the first hurricane of the year, and that was Andrew.
Everyone says that until we actually get in a hurricane.
That was my first foray into covering severe weather. And I didn't die. I got some great footage. Knocked on a bunch of satellite truck doors. The next year, Hurricane Emily came to the Outer Banks. Covered that one, sold it to some people. I think I sold it to the Weather Channel then. And then my first time of really officially being paid by the Weather Channel ahead of time to be there was with Hurricane Gordon in, I believe, November of 1993 on the Outer Banks. And I was in the right place at the right time, got 3 houses that got knocked into the Atlantic Ocean. And if anybody's watched the Weather Channel back in the 90s during hurricane forecast season time, during the tropical update, the video of the wave hitting the house turns 90 degrees and falls into the ocean. That was my footage.
Wow.
And that's how I got started with them.
That's great, man. I always loved photography too. My dad was a photographer when he got back from the war in the 40s. And we had a dark room in our basement. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I didn't mean to clear my throat in your ears. We had a dark room in the basement. We were never allowed in there, so because there was chemicals and all that stuff. But when I was in high school, I got to take a photography course, and I walked into the dark room there, and I went, "Oh, I got one of them in my basement. I got one of those in my basement. I got that." And the rest is history. I started shooting photography. That's where, if you ever looked at my website, photoguymike.com, that's where I learned how to do photography from school. Not my dad, from school, but I used all his equipment. When I got home, I would roll my own black and white 35 millimeter film, put it into canisters, take the pictures, bring it home, take it out of the canisters in a dark room, put them in the thing, develop them. I did the whole thing. And I found it to be such a rewarding experience that you're creating art. You're the way you see it through your eye is how you're presenting it to people. So that's your take on a situation. So that it's very fulfilling. I love doing it. Never got into video. In the early 90s, video was starting to become extremely important. A lot of photographers were learning video. And also, the other thing, too, I had a very knowledgeable photographer say to me one time when I was asking him what kind of printer should I buy. He said, "Are you a printer or a photographer?" I said, "I'm a photographer." He goes, "Yeah, get somebody else to print your stuff." So I thought the same way about video. Get a real videographer to film me if I need filming, because I don't have time or energy to learn a whole new genre, you know? So that's what I did. By the way, our peak was 5 people watching us so far. I wanted to
All right.
We are on YouTube right now. We are on X right now, and we are on Facebook right now. If anybody's got any questions, put question at the beginning of your type thing in the chat, and I'll make sure I get them to Jim, and we'll ask Jim whatever questions you have.
I may be able to see the chat here too.
Yes.
Actually, I can't. Yes.
Yeah, it's on the right side. So anybody wants to ask a question, whether you're on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, go ahead and type it in the questions and let us know, and I'll ask Jim for you.
Yeah, so you're going to have to ask. It's wanting me to log into YouTube. So we'll since we're on the air now, we'll try that next time, Mike.
Okay. All right. But
I loved still photography, but the challenge was in photography school, we had to process our own film. We had to print our own prints.
Right.
And I was allergic to the darkroom chemicals.
Oh.
And my hands had blisters all over them. And I thought, that really solidified, I want to do this in television.
So I want to show this clip of you at Tim Tebow's house. Can you explain what this is and what it represents?
Yeah. So in 2010, I went to work for the Christian Broadcasting Network as a director of photography for them. And this was in 2010. A guy named Ryan Johnson and I were the 2 cameramen on this shoot. We went from Virginia Beach at about 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, went to Tim Tebow's house with our producer and reporter, a guy named Sean Brown, talked to Tim about the story was, since it was a Christian show, was about how the doctors told his mom to have an abortion because he was going to kill her, and she chose to have the baby. And so we spent, I don't know, probably 6 or 8 hours at his house there in Denver. And
wow.
Sean was always one for rubbing elbows with the athletes or the famous people. And he's like, "Oh, I want to play basketball with Tim." And Tim's brother was there. And Tim was throwing the football to his brother. And then he asked us, "You want to catch you want to catch a football. And I thought it would be cool to catch a football from Tim, but every time the football hit his brother in the chest, it was like, I mean, you could tell it was doing damage. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. So Sean went to play basketball with Tim. It's now 2 o'clock in the morning, Mountain Time. So 4 o'clock in the morning Eastern. It's now been a 23-hour day since we left Norfolk, about 27 hours since we got up.
Right.
And I'm just exhausted. And Tim is playing 2-on-2 basketball with Sean against his brother and somebody else. I don't remember who the other guy was, but that's what the video is. He can play it, and
All right,
it's kind of cool.
let's share, folks, what you're talking about. This is now 4 o'clock in the morning your time, but you're out in Denver, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see if we can get this in.
Yard. In the cold, watching Sean Brown play basketball with Tim Tebow and Tim Tebow's brother and Angel, Tim Tebow's
his agent
yes.
or agent manager.
And
And I think Sean and Tebow are on the same team. And
I'm sorry, that was a carry. You're not allowed to do that.
so there you go.
doesn't have any grip to it.
I would be out there playing, but that would just be an embarrassment to my whole family.
And I'm 44 with bad knees, so I have a legitimate excuse.
All right, there you go.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was Tim's backyard.
Isn't it great when you get to meet somebody famous and you find out they're just like us? They're not that weird.
You know, that's part of this career has had me in the living rooms of Super Bowl champions, Kurt Schilling, the Red Sox pitcher, 3 presidents. I interviewed 3 presidents. George Bush knew my name. I was at the White House during the election in 2004, and I was working, I thought, for ABC News, but they had me go to work for Al Jazeera, who was one of their affiliates. And President Bush was like, "Hey, Jim, how you doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, pretty good, Mr. President." He goes, "Who are you working for?" I said, "Al Jazeera, Mr. President." He goes, "Sucks to be you."
Oh man, that's interesting. I worked for Verizon for 37 years, and I got to meet some pretty cool people like Eddie Murphy, and I worked in his house, and it was great. It's the kind of thing regular people don't think you're going to be all starstruck and everything, but you got a job to do, so you're busy doing your job, and you don't have time to be the major fan of these people. But I got a scene now. I want to play this. Let me, I'm going to have to switch to it. You should still be able to hear me. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right. We are going to go to this screen only. So I'm going to take you out of the shot, and we're going to play this video, and people, enjoy this. First, I got to get to it over here. That's where I want, I think. Nope. Hold on. Sit tight, people. I'm not that good at this yet. Where is the video? I see it on the screen, but I don't see it on my computer. I'm in a different window. That's why. There it is. Okay, now we're going full screen. And sad to say, we're not going to hear the sound, but I'm going to play it from the beginning. This is a rocket launch. I'll do some commentary. You should be able to do commentary too, Jim, I believe. Go ahead. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I can. Actually, what I'm seeing is your slideshow right now.
I know. I don't know why. I should have been. Oh, I might. All right. Why are we? Oh, I know why. Yeah. What was it I was searching again for?
You were searching for Jame Lea incredible Antares explosion. And that's on YouTube. So while you're looking, Mike, this was in 2014 in Wallops Island, Virginia. And if you go and look on YouTube, the audio is recorded in Dolby 5.1 surround. It was pretty incredible. But this is the Antares rocket launching the Cygnus spacecraft for a resupply mission to the ISS. And as the video shows, there was a slight mishap.
All right,
And we got it all on tape.
I'm going to play it. I might have had it muted before when we were trying to see if we can get the sound. I'm going to try again. Let's see if you hear it now. This is what a rocket launch looks like, folks. Watch carefully because it's going to get very exciting in about 5 seconds. There it goes. The engines blow. And we go home. Ooh, that's going to hurt. It's going to leave a mark. Ouch! That's one hell of a fireworks display, if you ask me. Well, James, that was pretty cool. Did you get the sound on that or just hear it out of my microphone?
Yeah, no sound. Okay, so my commentary wasn't going, I guess, because I was backstage. So
Yeah.
if you go to YouTube, if anybody wants to see it and hear it, just search James Lea, and it's Lea, Incredible Antares Explosion, Antares. And
I just posted a link in the chat.
the video, the guy who recorded the audio for me, a guy named Jimmy Smithson, worked with me a lot as a sound recordist, and he's one of the best in the world. And he had a Dolby 5.1 surround setup going there into his sound devices recorder. He had a 20 hertz bass drum mic there for the rumble. He had a lavalier microphone clipped up on this loudspeaker from Mission Control. And when you listen to it on a true surround sound, it's incredible. But even just in stereo, it's an incredible sound. And you can hear somebody yelling, "Bus, bus, get on the bus, get on the bus."
Right.
We were in the NASA press area. I was working close to where the rocket launch was, and then there were press there with us. And the press bus, they told them if there's an issue, you got to get on the bus and get out of there. Well, I knew there were like 35 people that needed to get on that bus, so I figured I'd stay there and keep rolling and make sure that I was going to get everything. I left my camera rolling for like 6 hours
Wow.
until we got back to get our camera gear.
Right.
And the marsh caught on fire. It was the most incredible rocket launch I've seen, and I've seen a lot of them.
You know, people don't realize when you go to see these rockets in person, the concussion from just the engines is amazing. You feel like somebody's beating on your chest with their fists. It's incredible. I've seen a couple of shuttle launches. I was 10 miles away, and it was like somebody was punching my chest as those solid rocket boosters are rumbling into the sky. It is absolutely an amazing thing to watch. I moved to Florida specifically to be close to Kennedy Space Center because I'm a big space geek. Kennedy Space Center is my happy place. That's where I go to really like live it up and enjoy it. And that's why I'm loving going to Huntsville every year because I get to go to the Space Center there. I met a couple of I met an engineer that actually knew Werner von Braun, which was pretty incredible to hear him tell stories. And he's right in the Saturn V Center up at Huntsville. He goes around and gives people tours and stuff. It's a lot of fun. So we've been going for about 25 minutes now, and I just want to say I didn't want to dwell on the fact that you have issues with your hands and your feet because I wanted people to know who Jim was. I want them to get
Hey, before you go to that, let's talk about I want to invite you, and I think you know about it, but in the end of February at the Kennedy Space Center at the Visitor Complex is the ARIS, the Amateur Radio on the ISS 40-year gala.
Right.
It's going to be a two-day conference, and on Friday night they're going to have a gala dinner underneath the Saturn V rocket out by Launch Pad 39A. or in the vehicle assembly
Chapter
building.
5 building, they do it underneath the rocket. I've seen
Yeah.
it. I've seen it set up for banquets and stuff.
Yeah, so you need to come because I know you can make it, and I know you're a space geek. But our daughter Hope will be there. She is slated to be talking at least during the conference
Right.
about her Mars Desert Research Station missions that she's done, and she wants to be an astronaut. She wants to go to, I guess, the commercial space station by the time she gets out of college and becomes an astronaut, and
Well,
then on to the moon.
30. They're going to keep this one going until 2030. So
Well, that's only 6 years from now.
I
So
know.
she is 17 years old. So it's gonna be a while before she gets there. But she's a junior at Embry-Riddle in electrical engineering. She's done 2 missions at the Mars Desert Research Station in Utah.
Mhm.
She completed commercial astronaut training with the International Institute for Astronautical Sciences. She has commercial astronaut wings. So it's kind of cool. She wants to be the first person to make an amateur radio contact from the moon to Earth. And I
That
already told her, I said, I want to be on that. I want to be the first one to be on the other side of that. So
that would be cool. I've
yeah,
never done EME, but I can imagine if you actually have somebody up there with a radio, that would be really something
yeah.
else. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so I will look into that. I've been getting the emails about that from ARISS myself, and I've been debating if I want to go. Do I want to spend that much money? You're right. I have to go. That's it's what I live for. As a matter of fact, I have other announcements to make, but I didn't make them yet because I've told everybody that there's a major announcement I'm making on this podcast. I have not said it publicly yet. I will at the end. But in the meantime, let's talk about your needs. You have needs, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help when you have needs like you have. And oh, look at that. Pastor Jay's watching us. Nice.
Hey, Pastor Jay. She's
Hey,
asleep.
Pastor Jay, how you doing? I'm also putting a link to what is it? Your No Limb Gym page. Let's talk a little bit about that. You have been. How can I put it? I don't wish this type of event to happen to anybody, even my enemies. I wouldn't want what happened to you to happen to them. But
So why don't you play the slideshow here for a minute? I'll key it up with the slideshow because that brings us to what caused what happened to me.
well, I didn't put the images from the hospital. I did not add to the slideshow.
Okay, well we've got
A little too much.
we've got the stuff I think from. Did you put the stuff from the Bahamas and that
Yeah,
stuff
all
in
the
there?
other images you gave me are there.
Okay, yeah, let's play that. I'll talk about what they were.
All right.
So that's me the day the rocket blew up.
Okay.
Before it blew up though, and then this next one, and that's
That's so
my
you know.
logo for No Limb Gym, which is kind of self-explanatory there.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember the movie about Captain Phillips with the Somali pirates
Yeah.
that we interviewed Captain Phillips that day, and that's me on a story in Dallas, Texas. It was 117 degrees or something. That's my entire family there. Me, Michelle, our 4 kids, Zechariah, Faith, Hannah, Hope, and Grace. All of our family are hams, and that's just another shot of me as a cameraman somewhere in Virginia. I don't remember what we were shooting, and that's another shot from that same shoot.
Love the tripod. Nice low
Yeah.
shot, steady. That's beautiful.
I still have that tripod. I
Good.
still
You're
use it. Well, I haven't used it in 2 years, but I still did have it, and that's actually from a film shoot we were doing, and the camera's on a jib there. So no, you don't have the stuff from. Is that all the pictures?
I guess so. It didn't replay.
Okay, so
So
I spent a lot of years, obviously, working for the Weather Channel, and as a television cameraman, primarily covering disasters and war zones.
okay.
And while I was there, I developed a habit of putting the camera down and helping. And ended up going to Haiti after the earthquake in 2010, embedded aboard the U.S. Navy hospital ship Comfort.
Right.
And on my way home, I flew home on a very nice Gulfstream that belonged to somebody that everybody would know their name, but I'm not at liberty to say it publicly. But he was a well-known personality, and it belonged to this guy, and all the seats are taken out of the back, and I'm sitting in the jump seat between the two pilots, and I was like, "Is this guy's plane?" And they're like, "We can't say yes or no."
Was it a G6?
It was you're along the right.
I know who it was.
Yeah. It was a
Everybody else
G550.
can guess, but he's done a lot of beneficial, benevolent stuff.
It was a G550.
Okay, that might have been his old plane. I think he ended
Yes.
up he last had a G6, I believe,
Yeah.
but he used to talk about it all the time, and I know he's done major benefactor work for a lot of people using that
Yes.
plane.
His plane was being donated to help in Haiti,
Hmm.
and the group that was doing it was called CARE, Corporate Aviation Responding to Emergencies. And this was about the time that the Obama administration was vilifying people who owned airplanes. And corporate aviation and private general aviation, through CARE, moved more men and material into Haiti and have medevaced more people out of Haiti than all the other NGOs and governments combined.
Right.
And I thought, you know what? I want to come back here and do a story about what these villains are doing and show that there's good being done.
Right.
And in doing so, I spent about 6 weeks there. I got to fly several different aircraft, shot video, did stories, interviewed people, and put the camera down and helped a lot of people.
Right.
And over the years, they morphed into, or actually split into two groups. And one of the groups is called Aero Bridge. And I have been working with them ever since, volunteering during disasters, typically going downrange, being at the airport where we are bringing stuff in, running the show, operations, security, communications, whatever needs to be done. Usually, it's one person goes downrange, and then you find local community that you can network with and get things done. So I've been doing that for a while. I went to Marsh Harbor in the Bahamas after Hurricane Dorian in 2019. I spent about 10 days in Marsh Harbor and got bitten by the one mosquito, I guess, that survived the hurricane.
You're
As you
lucky.
remember, it was a Category 5 hurricane that sat still over the island
Right.
for about two and a
It
half
just
days.
kept churning around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first night that I was there sleeping in my tent, I woke up at like 3 in the morning and there was no sound. There's no frogs, no crickets, nothing. And I was like freaked out. And I grabbed my K-bar knife and I unsheathed it and I held it like next to my chest. I was like, if Freddy Krueger comes through my tent, I'm gonna be ready. It was really unnerving. But
I would imagine.
apparently I got bitten by a mosquito. I caught West Nile virus. There was a Bahamian Marine that was there who got West Nile virus. He died.
Wow.
It was West Nile encephalitis. It nearly killed me. It did a lot of damage to me. And one of the things that it caused was somehow we think it caused the mitral valve in my heart to fail suddenly in 2021 field day weekend. I
Right.
was the emergency coordinator for Volusia County, Florida, and we had a big field day event, and I just didn't feel good. But the next Monday, I woke up at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I couldn't breathe. Went to the hospital, and they did all kinds of tests, and finally listened to my heart with the stethoscope, and they said, "How long have you had this heart murmur?" And I'm like, "I don't have one."
Yes, you do.
So yeah, so it was during the height of the Delta variant of COVID. They considered the surgery to be elective, so they postponed the surgery until December. On December 8th, I went in to have surgery. We don't know exactly what happened in the operating room. A series of catastrophic events happened.
Stop right there. I want to tell people I met Jim at a lunch, a ham lunch at what was the name of that place?
It was at the fish house or something.
Fish camp. That
Yeah,
was
the
it.
fish camp.
Fish camp, which isn't there anymore because it got flooded and they haven't reopened from what I heard. Anyway, I met you there and we had a little conversation. We actually had a nice disagreement, which was funny.
We did.
I didn't know if you were joking or you were serious, and I was like getting mad at you. I was like, I told ND1C, I said, I don't need this guy in my life. He's a pain in the ass. I don't like him. He's like, oh, Jim's a good guy. And then he showed me the video of when you took him out to do a contact on the ISS. And I was like, well, maybe he's not that bad because he likes doing satellites. Anyway, but then I ran into you. I believe I was watching you at Home Depot. I saw you. You were getting a new top for your toolbox because the one they gave you was all scratched up. And you had your wife carrying it. And I made a joke. I said, oh, good wife you got there. She does all the heavy lifting, right? And then you told me about your valve. And I went, oh, foot and mouth. I shouldn't say things like that. And I was making a joke, and I felt like an idiot at that point. And it was like right before you went in for the operation, I believe. It was like the day before, 2 days before. It was like on a Friday, and you were going in on Tuesday or something. And December 8th, 2021, the world turned upside down, and your life completely changed.
Yes.
And I knew there was a reason our first meeting left a big impression on me. God was telling me something. I didn't hear it until about October of last year, where I knew we had to do something for you because nobody should be put in a position you're in and not have any help. You need help, and I want to find a way to come up with it. So
what happened was something happened in the operating room.
Right.
I don't know exactly what happened. I died several times. They gave me heparin to break up a clot that had developed in the bypass machine. I ended up with what I've been told was heparin-induced thrombocytopenia and DIC, which stands for disseminated intravascular coagulation. Essentially, you are bleeding out in some places and clotting in others. And I ended up with blood clots in my lungs, blood clots in my fingers. As you can see, they're gone. My feet. And then I was on vasopressor drugs for 2.5 months, and that didn't help the extremities. My kidneys died. I was dead numerous times and was in a coma for a long time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. They did an induced coma after that operation, right?
Well,
And
I was in a coma, I think, until the day after Christmas, and then they re-induced it after that. I have been reading the Facebook posts that Michelle made,
right,
in my memories this year. I didn't do it last year. I couldn't handle it. And apparently I woke up sooner than I remember. I don't remember anything before Valentine's Day.
Wow.
I remember waking up, seeing that my hands were black and hard and that they were dying. And I had a trach in, so I couldn't talk. And my wife and kids weren't there. And I remember being told by the surgeon that, hey, you'll be able to drive yourself home in like 3 or 4 days after surgery. So
Wow.
I thought I must have driven home. We had a wreck. Apparently the Suburban caught on fire, burned me, and Michelle and the kids aren't here. And the nurse hasn't told me that they're okay. So they must be dead.
I cannot imagine what you were thinking.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. That's torture itself, just thinking that.
Yeah. You know? So I don't know when Michelle came. It could have been 5 minutes. It could have been 3 or 4 days. I know apparently she was there every day.
Well, I'll tell you, she was pumping out posts on Facebook. That's how I knew what was going on with you. And I added her as a friend. And then because I was already friends with you on Facebook, and she was posting on your account.
Yes, she was.
And then she posted on her own account. And man, I was praying every day for you guys. I was sitting there going, how the heck would I deal with this? I don't know that I could. I trust my God enough to know that he'd protect me in it. But yet, when you're in it, I don't know, man. And then not knowing, when did you find out they were okay and you weren't in an accident?
When Michelle came in the room and said, this is what happened to you.
Right.
The nurses didn't tell me. At least I don't remember the nurses telling me. I can't definitively say they didn't say it. What I remember eventually was hearing it from Michelle. Something happened. You've been in a coma. And your feet look just like your hands do. And I went to medical school when I was 40 years old.
Right.
I didn't finish because our bank failed during my fourth year. And we wasn't able to finish. But I knew enough to know that I was going to end up losing my legs and my feet and my fingers.
Right.
And man, I was in the hospital nearly 5 months, and it was at times the best time of my life and at times the worst time of my life. There's still people who I still consider friends that I don't think consider me a friend anymore because, I was a complete jerk.
Yes,
yeah.
You're a complete jerk, especially when we were talking about that gun thing, telling me I was.
Imagine that first conversation we had over lunch, and I was under the influence of mind-altering drugs. I was on a cocktail of drugs that messed up my short-term memory. I'm getting it back. I was hallucinating. I got out of the hospital addicted to narcotics.
Wow.
I'm finally off of the narcotics and the gabapentin and the pregabalin. I'm dealing with pain every day. But we went through a year of me not being able to work at all because of just the sheer volume of doctor appointments or medical appointments I had. And it was on average 15 a week.
For those of us watching online, I have to tell you, first of all, hi, Don. Don Clementi, N2MSP, just came to visit us.
Hey, Don. I know Don. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I just saw him at lunch today. He congratulated us on doing a good job. So thanks, Don. Actually, I forgot. I can do this. Oh, there he is. I can actually put
look at that.
Yeah, and Pastor Jay came by. Let me tell you something about Pastor Jay. She has a radio show.
Yes, she
She
does.
already asked me. I don't know if she called you yet. She wants us to be on her radio show Friday. I don't know if you're going to be back yet. When you're going to be back?
I won't be home on Friday, but if we pushed it back to a week from Friday, I would love to come back in the studio with Pastor Jay. I've been there.
Right.
She asked me who I was going to vote for, and he didn't win. So.
Yeah, that's politics is another subject. I'm not getting into that today. All right, so now you get back. I remember running into you, not this year, not last year, the year before at Huntsville, and understandably so, you were in great emotional distress. And I remember I said to you, hang in there. There's a reason you're still alive. God's got something for you to do. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason you're still alive. And as a fact of that was when I first had the idea of doing something wonderful for you. And I'm going to tell everybody what the dirty little secret is that I've been keeping quiet this whole time. We've been on for 45 minutes. I am in the process of producing a ham radio festival in Palm Coast, Florida for March 9th, 2024. You $30 a table if you want to come and sell stuff. I'm going to work on getting vendors to come on out. Jim, if you want to bring your Shack in a Box booth and set it up, you're more than welcome to. You're free. I'm not going to charge you anything since I'm only going to give the money back to you anyway. We're doing it. The Elks have agreed to do this, and they're going to have the bar open. They're getting a special liquor license so they can sell to the public. They're going to have the bar open, and they're going to have food. So I've already decided I'm going to do a demonstration of satellite contacting with an HT. I got my brand new Kenwood TH70D72 handheld. I'll show you how to do contacts with this. I'm going to pick up an elk antenna. I'll have 2 units that can be used, and I will have somebody out there. If we have any satellite passes while we're there, I'll do a live satellite pass out in the parking lot, and I'll teach a little lesson inside the Hamfest also. So I look forward to that. It's going to be March 9th from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. You also can set up outside. So if you want to get there at the crack of dawn, put out your own table and put your stuff out in the parking lot, you can do that. $30 a table. All right. And you can get tables inside. So get in touch with me. Email me, ko4pdi@1791.com. I'll put that in the chat so that this way you can email me if you want to be part of this event to raise money for Jim. Jim, what do you got, about $8 million in medical bills?
The bills are, my lawyer said to just say millions and millions. I know it's up near $8 million.
Wow.
I don't think we're going to have to pay the medical bills. I mean, and be honest about it. We are in litigation, and I think we're going to be successful. I hope we're successful. The real need right now, Mike, is our company, Shack in a Box, as you mentioned. We build amateur radio GoBoxes, solar generators, and we were just getting things going really good to where we were about to get our cage code so we could sell to the government. And in the 2 or 3 months after I went in the hospital, we got about 150 inquiries from people wanting us to do work for them. And Michelle wasn't able to reply to them. And when we got to where we could reply, only like 1 or 2 actually were like, okay, great. The rest of them were like, I moved on. So we lost a ton of business. I couldn't work at all until about May of this year.
Right.
And we're traveling across the state, on average 12 to 15 doctor appointments a week.
Unreal.
I got put on Medicaid when May came in this last year, and President Biden said that COVID was over. They took me off of Medicaid because they said I had too many assets. I'm like, what do I have? And the only thing we can figure out is that we own 2 Chevy Suburbans. They're old, but they're paid for.
Right.
Well, so
just so people know, Jim did not sit down and wait to die. Jim's active right now. Tell him where you are right now and why you're there.
I'm actually in Texas. We had 3 big orders for GoBoxes that all need to come out here to this area in Texas. It was less expensive to drive them here to deliver them than it would have been to ship them by UPS. So in a way to put more money in our pocket, I drove all the way out here, about 1,600 miles each way to deliver them, and ended up getting caught in an ice storm out here. But we got the stuff delivered. We've got another GoBox that we're working on at home, and another one that hopefully we'll get an order for here in the next day or so. So I am working. I am doing what I can to get our business solvent again, to support our family, and we are making ends meet.
Well, I'll tell you, the progress I've seen is incredible. Like I said, a year ago, not in 2023, in 2022, I saw Jim at Huntsville, and he was not in a good place, and it was tough. I mean, anybody would be where you were that day if they were in your situation. You're human. It's going to get to you. But this past year in Huntsville, 2023, I went to the Space Center in Huntsville, and I was taking pictures of stuff, and I was posting YouTube shorts, and I was posting little things online, and I get a phone call from Jim. He says, "Hey, are you in Huntsville?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I got there real early, and I hadn't even checked into my hotel yet." And did we lose Jim? We lost Jim. Jim, he's back.
You're,
He's
you're,
back. Yeah, you disappeared for a second.
I lost you at Huntsville.
Yeah, so Jim calls me up. He says, "Hey, are you in Huntsville?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Want to go to dinner?" So I'm like, "Well, he sounds pretty good." "Yeah, I'll go to dinner." He goes, "I'll pick you up." I went, "What? You're gonna come pick me up?" I said, "Wait a minute, is this the same Jim I'm thinking it is?" Yeah, it was. And he pulled up in his Suburban, and I got in, and I got to tell you, I was impressed. The ability that you had, and that's another story you might want to tell, how you ended up getting hand controls in your two Suburbans. Let everybody know what happened there.
Yeah, it's in one Suburban right now.
Okay.
So we found out we started a GoFundMe, which I think you put the link up.
I did.
And on the way home from Huntsville in 2022, a lady named Lori Belush gave me a phone call and said, I can't give you any money, but I want to offer to teach you to drive with adaptive hand controls. And that was $1,000 worth of training or so that she donated. And she trained me in February, and I got my license endorsement so that I could drive, I think in March or April.
Okay.
But I called the place that she said I should get the hand controls. And I was like, so how much is it going to cost me? And it was several $1,000s. And I thought, well, that's just nice. Anything we get from the GoFundMe has to go towards going to doctor appointments or food or rent or whatnot. Somebody, and I'm not going to name their names because I don't know if they want to be known, but a ham radio couple walked up to me at our booth for Shack in a Box at the Orlando Hamcation last year and handed me a check that was about $6 more than it was going to cost to put the hand controls in the truck.
Wow.
And it said, in the memo, it said something like safe travels. So I was like, okay, God has provided. So got hand controls put in the truck. Started driving again in April. Have done several trips for work, a couple of therapeutic trips just as part of my healing journey, to know that if I can get out here and do this on my own, like right now I'm in a hotel room 1,000 miles away from home in a wheelchair, bathing myself, moving in and out of the hotel room, doing all that needs to be done. If I can do that, then I can not only survive, but thrive and get better and have somewhat of a normal life again. Even though I don't have prosthetic legs, I don't have prosthetic hands yet, but, you know, God has opened the doors for me to heal through this. And I've gotten a whole lot stronger, a whole lot better shape. I mean, the first time I sat up in bed in the hospital, my head was down like this, and they're like, "Look at me," and they wanted me to do this, but I had to do this because
Wow.
I couldn't lift my head.
Wow.
I had atrophied. My muscles had atrophied so badly. I didn't think I would ever be able to get. Thank you, Pastor Jay. I didn't think I would ever be able to get out of bed on my own. I got
Right.
out of the hospital. Essentially, I was thrown out on my butt from the hospital. Hey, you're done. Insurance is saying you're done. You got to get out. I couldn't roll over in bed, or I could barely roll over in bed.
Wow.
And I've always been one that doesn't take no for an answer. And if you tell me I can't do something, that throws a gauntlet out that says, "Okay, well, let me show you." You know,
That's probably why I like you so much. You sound like me. I don't.
there's
I
a,
don't.
there's a patch, a morale patch that I have on a bag on my manual wheelchair that says "Underestimate me." That'll be fun. And
Oh
so
man.
yeah, they in the hospital they had a fake car where you could learn how to transfer on a transfer board into this car. And I was like, I want to learn how to get in a car. Oh no, that's too dangerous. You'll never do that. You're always going to have to ride in a wheelchair van. Well, like 3 or 4 days after I get home, we ordered a transfer board, which is essentially a 1x8 or a 1x10 board,
Right.
oak board that you can slide on your butt. And I noticed that our daughter Faith Hannah's car was about the same height as my wheelchair. No way I was going to get into our Suburban because the
Right.
seat was about 8.5, 9 inches higher. But I wanted to go to Flagler Beach and get a hamburger at Whamburger where Faith Hannah worked.
Right.
I said, go get the board. I want to try this. I got in the car and we went and got a hamburger. And
I remember watching you do that at Terra Nova, and I was impressed. I was like, this can't be easy, you know.
it wasn't.
You're like a wild Mustang that all of a sudden got your legs cut out from under you. And because I know you're a go-getter. You chase storms. You did all this other stuff to be told, yeah, you're never going to get in a car again. That, like you said, say I can't do it because that'll give me the motivation to make it happen. I have a personal saying, and I tell this to everybody I know. I have it on my photography business cards. It says, I'm enough, I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I'm loved. You're enough that today, the way you are, not taller, shorter, skinnier, fatter, you deserve love just because you exist. You're where you're supposed to be. Everything that happens every day is exactly what was supposed to happen that day. And if you take it and it's horrible, use it as motivation to change. If it's wonderful, you can sit and enjoy it. And you're loved. If you weren't here, somebody would miss you. So that's my philosophy for life. And mostly Jesus too, but I won't get real preachy here. I will just say this man is a living miracle, and there's a reason for it. And that's why I'm doing the Ham Fest, to try and even if we just get a couple months rent for you, it's got to help. So that's what I'm working on. So like
I'll say, being in March, this is going to be very timely because in all likelihood, our landlord is probably not going to renew our lease. He has not been the best landlord over the years, and there have been several issues with our home. And the rental agent told me, he's like, you're the squeaky wheel pretty much is too squeaky, and he's going to probably not renew your lease. So we'll be in May needing to find a new place to live.
Right.
More than likely.
Well, the good news is I think we can pull off some serious fundraising with this event. I got calls out to a lot of people, and we're going to have this one-day Ham Fest, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a blast. I want everybody. In Flagler County, there are over 700 licensed hams, and for $20 a ticket, if you don't come to this, you're a jerk. But I want you to come to this. And the Elks is going out of their way. I'm calling them a co-sponsor of this thing. I am an Elk. And now I kind of got volunteered for the home committee for the Elks, which decides all the prices and stuff like that. So I said, I don't mind. I'll help. If you're doing so much for me, I'll do a little for you. So we're gonna have gifts to give away. They're gonna set up a couple of baskets of cheer to have people buy chances to win, and all the money they collect is going to you. They're gonna do a 50-50. The money's gonna go to you. Any table rental, we're giving you the money. So we're working on this. We know there's a need, and we want to make it happen. So. The other thing, Pastor Jay just mentioned that you can call in if we do the radio show Friday. You can call in. We can get you on the air with us. I'll be there. Pastor Jay will be there, and you can be there by phone. I think it's at 2 p.m, correct, Pastor Jay? Let me know. Let me know it was 2 p.m.
Yeah, we can probably do that. Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's what we'll do. Friday at 2 p.m, we'll record the show. She plays it on Sunday, so anybody will be able to hear what we do.
I know that Pastor Jay has my phone number because she has called me.
Yeah, she said she was going to call you today. So, yeah, we'll work on that. But I'm looking forward to it. But, Jim, I can't thank you enough for coming here. We've been on the air an hour, believe it or not. It went by so fast. I don't know if I got to everything I wanted to get to. But the good news is we're moving. We're making progress. You're making progress. And we're gonna get this thing, make it a little bit easier for you, hopefully. Not much. And if this is a big success, heck, we'll do it every year. I don't care. We'll do it every year. As long as there's a need, we'll try to make it. And if one day you don't need it, we'll do it for somebody else.
I
Because
appreciate that.
I know you have to give back. To whom much is given, much is required. I've been blessed in my life. God's taken very good care of me. And the only thing I can do to thank him is help others. So that's what I'm doing this for you. And I deserve no credit at all. Jim has been through hell, and the ham community is going to come and give you a hand. I've already talked to Jason at Ham Radio 2.0. He's going to promote this thing. I'm going to talk to Mike, K8MRD. I'm going to talk to Josh, KI6NAZ. I'm going to talk to all of them and see if all of them can do a little something to help you out, to get more people to come to this. Maybe get people to buy tickets that don't even want to come, but they just want to contribute. And I put a link to your GoFundMe in the chat. That'll stay there.
Appreciate it.
And I put a link to Shack in the Box in the chat. Also, in the notes on this video, after we're done, this video will not come down. It'll be there forever. And in the notes, I put links to all of Jim's stuff. I put links to my affiliate codes. I have tons of them. You can get discounts on stuff. And so feel free to use those too. And I can't thank you enough, Jim, for coming on today. I learned a lot about you. Nobody should sit around and pity Jim. Do not do that. Jim is making a go of it. He's doing great. It's not what he would have liked. It wasn't the plan, but God's taking care of him, and he's still here. He's still got that smile on his face, and he's got this damn good sense of humor too. If you ever get to talk to him, you get to experience that. So I just want to thank you, Jim, for coming on, and I look forward to a follow-up after the Hamfest, or maybe at the Hamfest, to tell people how it's going and how it worked out.
That would be great at the Hamfest. Let me just real quick close with this. Some people may say, is there a need? There's definitely a need. All four of our kids are in college, and thankfully their college is being paid for with scholarships. And they're doing well, but we have expenses, just living expenses, and we're making ends meet. Some months are tighter than others. We're not putting any money in the bank, that's for sure.
Right.
But there are needs that aren't being met with having lost the insurance. We did get insurance again through the healthcare marketplace. Not sure if it's going to cover prosthetics or a wheelchair. I'm still in need of prosthetics. I'm sitting in a like a scooter here that we bought from somebody off of Craigslist for a couple $100. It works, but it's not what I need. And we're talking tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of need over the next couple of years just to get back to a point where I can walk again, where I can have fingers that I can work with. I am working. I am building GoBoxes, and I can do about 90% of what I used to be able to do. But the challenge is that my throughput is only about 8 to 10% of what I could do in amount of time. It
Right.
takes a lot longer to screw a screw in, because I'm going to take the screw and it's going to take me 6 or 7 of them to get one screw in the hole, because I'm going to drop the other, 5 or 6 of them on the floor. And those are challenges. I'm meeting them. I'm doing the best that I can. But I want to say this, and I'll look in the camera and say this. If you told me 30 years ago that the path that I took, doing the storm chasing, doing the disaster relief, helping people in war zones, and all of this would have brought me to where I am today, with no fingers, with no legs, in pain 24 hours a day. If you told me it was going to bring me to that, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Because the difference that was made by doing what I did was worth it. And I know people who are alive because of things that I got to help do. I know that people who are, just better off because I got a chance to help put into their lives. And this is humbling to be asking for help. because we're usually the ones who are giving. We've
Right.
given away almost everything we've ever made. And it's not to blow my own horn, but just to say that's been my savings plan, was to trust that God will provide. And God is providing through GoFundMe, through what you're wanting to do, what he put on your heart to do, Mike. And, just with provision at the right time, right before Christmas, we got, a guy called up with a huge order, just delivered it here in Texas. And that
That's
saw us through for the month.
right.
But there's always next month and the month after that and the month after that. And the expenses that are involved with just getting back to where I'm back to where I can do at least most of what I should be able to do.
Right.
And that's why we're asking for help.
Well, you didn't ask me to do this, but I'm doing it because God put it on my heart. Back in October, I knew I had to do this. I started talking to people about it, and I had many, many doubts. I was scared to do it, but I just said, no, somebody has to do this. So I just got in touch with the Elks. I've been in Elk for about 4 years, but I never really got involved at the lodge because there was nothing that really turned me on. It wasn't, I didn't feel like setting up tables and stuff. It just didn't move me. I wanted to take advantage of the lodge, but I didn't really know how I could help. And then one day they put a note on Facebook, or they sent out an email asking anybody know IT work. And I'm like, no, I don't know IT. And they said they wanted to get their sound system fixed. I said, I know sound systems. I know how to do that. Well, let me just go and see what the heck the story is. So I went down there, and they had a very expensive sound system and TV system. The TV system they have, what it does, it takes your input and it puts it out on a channel that a smart TV can receive. And then you tune to the channel if you want DirecTV. You tune to another channel if you want to do a presentation off a computer. And then you turn to another channel if you want to put a DVD in. DVDs, remember them? Anyway, I started playing with this stuff, and I did what I normally do with ham radio. I start taking pictures of all the equipment. I come home, I get on the internet, I look up all the manuals, I get them, and I learned how to fix the stuff. I never worked on these things before, but I was able to get everything working. In the process, I met everybody, and I'm meeting the exalted ruler and the secretary and all. And then I put two and two together, and I'm like, hey, this is a great hall. Maybe we could do something here. And I hesitated asking them until just recently, and they said, come to the House meeting, which was last night, and they approved it. And today they incorporated me into the House committee, and now I'm part of the House committee, and I'll be helping out there too. But the bottom line is they are so anxious to give you a hand. And the other good note, unrelated, right down the street from me, my neighbor owns a mobility company for medical devices. I'll talk to him and see what we can come up with, if anything. But I can't thank you enough, Jim, for coming on. I'm sure there was parts of this that were hard to talk about, but you did, and I'm glad you did. So now people know Jame Lea a little bit better than they did before. And I want to just say thank you, and God bless you, man.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and look forward to seeing you not only on the 9th of March, but at Hamcation in Orlando in just about 3 weeks. Shack in the Box will be there.
If you see Jim at Hamcation, tell him you saw him on this podcast. Maybe that'll get him motivated to keep doing these.
Thank you. Yeah.
We know how much I hate the camera.
Thank you.
Jim, have a great night, and get home safe so we can see you when you get back here. All right?
All right. Thanks a lot.
73, man. All right, everybody, that is Jame Lea. So I put all the links in the chat. So, and you also can see it in the what is it? The notes on this video. They're in there too. And I got to thank you guys for watching. If you want to come to the Ham Festival, March 9th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And if you want to get here at dawn and set up in the parking lot and sell stuff in the parking lot, you're more than welcome to. You'll just owe me $30. All right, that's the cost. And you're not giving me the money. You're giving Jim the money, because this is a fundraiser for Jim. I'm not taking a penny. The Elks isn't taking a penny. All they're going to do is make money on booze and food. They're going to be selling food. So you're more than welcome to have something to eat while you're there. I'm going to do a lesson on satellite tracking with an HT. I'll have 2 setups ready to go. and you're more than welcome to come out in the parking lot with me and make some satellite contacts too, if we can. Hopefully there'll be some passes we can use. Thank you all for watching. I just want to say thank you, and we'll see you again soon. This is next week. Oh, next week I'm working on a special guest for next Wednesday, and you're not going to believe who it is. I'll give you his initials, AC, and no, it's not AC/DC, but I think you'll like it. KO4 PDI, the Ham Fun Guy. You guys have a great night. 73.